We are back here. It is part 3 of our previews for the Garden State Baseball Coaches Clinic coming up December 7th and 8th at the Hyatt Regency in New Brunswick. Incredible lineup. We've already spoken with Coach Barry Davis, Mike Rooney, Coach Carl Nunemaker, and Coach Steve Trimper, and we are here with two of the most respected coaches in Division I. Finishing us out, it's Coach Bill Mosiello from Ohio State, Coach Mike Gambino at Penn State. Welcome, guys, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
Thanks for having. Appreciate it.
Yeah, let's start first by we're less than 2 weeks away from the actual clinic. If you can register still, make sure you get over to gamersba.com. Gamersba.com. You can do all your registration there. First, Mike, new job at Penn State, a lot of years at Boston College, a lot of time in the Northeast. Tell us why coming to New Jersey for this clinic in 2 weeks has you excited?
Well, I think a couple of reasons. One, New Jersey has always been a state that we have recruited hard over my years at Boston College, and it'll continue to be a state that we recruit hard here at Penn State. Everybody knows of the rich history of high school baseball in the state. The other thing is there's so many really, really good high school baseball coaches in Jersey. Every time I'm down there, I get a chance to talk to these guys and pick their brains and learn something. So to get a chance to hang out with some of those coaches that are going to be at that clinic and learn kind of what they're doing and what they're talking about from those coaches is awesome. And then third, I was promised a really good plate of pasta when I'm there. So there's supposed to be a really good Italian restaurant somewhere near there, and I'm looking forward to getting some pasta.
But third is most important there, right? The food, whether it's the pasta, some bagels in the morning, get some legit, Northeast food back in. We don't want
more importantly, I need a place to get a cannoli. You can't get a cannoli. I love State College, but you can't get a cannoli in State College.
That's right. Well, we gotta let's put that out there to any Italian bakery in the area. Hyatt Regency, 7th and 8th. Let's get some cannolis over for Coach Gambino. Coach Mosiello, again for you, same question. Obviously a long and well noted career, whether it's managing at the pro level, coaching at the pro level. Great work in college. Most recently, doing some amazing things with Coach Schlossnagle at TCU, and now at Ohio State. What gets you excited about coming to the Garden State?
Yeah, I mean, the Northeast probably would be the one spot that I know the least, to be honest with you. I am looking for the next Mike Trout from New Jersey. So getting to manage Mike for 3 years. So anytime I hear New Jersey, Millville comes up to me right away. So I need to find the next Mike Trout. So, but yeah, I mean, we're recruiting nationwide. That's a part of our program, having a big brand name like a Penn State that I know that everybody around the country at least has heard of the school. Unfortunately, they haven't heard of us for being a baseball program, but that's what the new goals are. And we're just seeking places. And I just love to go around the country and spread the gospel of our program and of baseball and getting to meet special people like I know they're out there. So that's just exciting to me to get to different parts of the country.
My coach is greedy. He wants the next Mike Trout. You would settle for the next Jake Alou, I'm pretty sure, right? Central Jersey, pride of Central Jersey, Washington Nationals now. New challenge for you, right? I mean, obviously done a ton and facing about every obstacle you can throw at a Northeast program at Boston College, private school, high academic school, high price tag, in one of the top conferences in the country, in the ACC, but obviously a couple of remarkable seasons, a great culture. What's got you excited about this new challenge now at Penn State in the Big Ten?
Well, I guess going back to the start of that, coaching. I've been lucky enough to coach a lot of really good players from New Jersey. You mentioned Jake getting the big leagues. Donovan Casey got to the big leagues a couple years ago, and the list of guys, really good players, and going back to even one of the coaches that I've had a chance to be around that I respect, as much as anybody I've ever been around, Joe Barth, the hit doctor. back in the day I used to just go down into Jersey and literally just watch his practice and learn from him. And Jake was, Donovan was a really toolsy player. Jake was, we used to joke that he was a no tools baseball player, meaning like there wasn't plus tools anywhere, just every tool was really, really good. And you've seen him do that in the big leagues. He can play defense, he can hit, he can run, he runs the bases, he plays hard. Type of kid who helps you win. And as far as the new challenge here at Penn State, FBC was my alma mater, is my alma mater. I loved it. We've made a lot of progress and built a lot of stuff there. The thing that I'm excited about with this new challenge, Penn State, I really, really believe it's a state that loves baseball. It's a fan base that really loves baseball. Penn State alum are second to none, both in numbers and passion. And our athletic director, Pat Kraft, and our deputy, who's my administrator, Vinny James, they really want Penn State baseball. I mean, the goal is going to Omaha. We're not hiding behind it. We're talking about it, and I have a lot of respect for Rob Cooper. He's a friend of mine. He's a great baseball coach. He was here a long time. The good news for me is there's a whole nother level of investment in this program from the administration. So that, to build something with an investment from the president, from the athletic director, from your administrator, both as far as how much they care and what they're doing financially, that's exciting. And there are not many places left like this, as far as places that, that you believe can really, really win and win at a high level, but have yet to really put the investment in baseball. And now that Penn State and Pat and Vinny are putting this investment in our program, it's got a chance to be a lot of fun here. A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
When you look back on the Boston College years, and I mean, to have the chance to be a head coach at your alma mater, to carry on that tradition and build in some other areas, to be involved in things like ALS through Pete. What are you most proud of?
That's a hard question. I think there's a lot of things to really be proud of. I think the thing I would be most proud of, you talk about Pete, and what he has been able to do. And we all know and realize now, when Pete got sick, he had said, this is unacceptable, that there hasn't been progress in this disease in 50 years. No known cause, no known cure. This is unacceptable. And the progress that has been made, we all know that there's going to be a time that we talk about ALS like we talk about polio. And it's going to be because of Pete Frates, Pat Quinn, and a lot of other people that were involved in everything, in the entire freight train. There's a lot to be proud of there. But I think that's part of it. I think the success that we had on the field, and 3 first-round picks and 7 big leaguers in the last 6 years, and postseason, like, that stuff's great. But I think what I'm most proud about, the thing we talked about at BC when we left, and we still talk about it, is it's our thing. Like the closeness in the clubhouse and with the entire alumni, I think would be some of the things that I'm most proud to be a part of. It's a program with a really good coach now that's in a really good spot to continue to build. So to be a small part, to be able to sit in that seat for a little while as a former player, is something that I'm really proud of, and the relationships that we built.
Absolutely. And look forward to that coming along with you to Penn State and what you can do there. Coach Mosiello, Bill, long career coaching, obviously, and highly respected, highly regarded throughout the industry. And like I said, amazing work at TCU with the program there, and now finally getting the opportunity to not just head a program at the D1 level, but certainly one of the biggest schools in the country. What was the first year like, and the new challenges there, and what maybe you weren't expecting that kind of surprised you most about being a head coach at college, a D1 head coach, I should say?
Yeah, it's one of those things that, no one's been more blessed than I have in my coaching career to coach some amazing players and be around some of the most amazing head coaches, assistant coaches. Where I'm from in California, the tree that I grew under with George Horton and some certain things like, I don't know, there's maybe 20 to 30 coaches out there, maybe 12 to 15 head coaches from the places that I were at, Fullerton and Cerritos College where I grew up. So I was super blessed with that. And then, my last tenure being with Jim Schlossnagle, who was the most amazing head coach, CEO, baseball guy that understood recruiting every part. And so I had the best seat in the house to learn from him. So I thought was one of those guys that have really studied all the head coaches and people I've been around and thought, man, I'll be prepared for this. But then once you get in the seat, there's just nothing like it. You really, when people use the term drinking through a fire hose, I never understood what that meant. And once I found out, boy, it didn't even stop for about 7 or 8 months. And now you're sort of getting your feet wet a little bit. And you're sort of, you're there and you're a little grounded and you really know exactly where you want to go. And, you're trying to implement a culture and recruit at a high level. And I was so blessed to have this amazing coaching staff with Sean Allen and Andrew C. and Buck Taylor and having Damon Lessler here as my, baseball operations guy. So I put together a first class, just superstar staff. But there was just so much to be involved. And I just, I've been so fortunate. I never had to worry about baseballs before. And, we always had new baseballs every day. And now all of a sudden I'm watching home run balls, making sure that somebody's on them because I'm used to having a plethora of everything and never once worried about it. Just told the equipment manager, hey, make sure we have new balls for BP tomorrow. So now so I had to think about things I've never even thought about. So that was the thing, the time consuming, the roster management, the fact that you actually have to release kids out of the program. And especially when you're in a new program and you have to make some adjustments. And I try to treat every player like I'd want my own 3 boys to be treated and be fair. And if they're doing the right things is to give them opportunities. And again, I'm coming from a situation where us being 31-25 was 25 losses in a season. I don't remember the last time I've had to go through something like that. So you never oh my gosh, can you imagine that? And, so they were some really, really tough times. And I trying to create a winning culture. And again, I have, all the days of my career, I woke up every day trying to win a national championship. And then I knew the players that come here, they just came to a great university. They wanted to get a great degree and at a great school, but I knew their thoughts weren't about winning national championships and going to Omaha and things that I've taken for granted in my career. Like, who hasn't been to Omaha, and then you look back and say, man, it's not that easy. And I've always known how blessed I am to be around great coaches and our players. It's always about players. I've always known that. And no one's been more blessed than me, but yeah, there were so many moving pieces that I couldn't put my head was spinning at all times. And I thought I was as prepared as you could. And it's one of those, be careful what you wish for, man. And I'm like, okay, you got it. And being an assistant coach never defined me. And I knew that how important my role was. And Jim Schlossnagle had given me so much. I got to do so many things to feel like it was my club. And, but it was a crazy deal. And when young guys, I just tell guys, when you're an assistant somewhere and you're at a great place and man, don't, hey, make sure that you understand how fortunate you are. And I've never taken that for granted. I knew just having a job. I've got great baseball buddies that don't even have jobs at this time. So I know how lucky I've been. And I got better guys out there that are way better coaches than me that aren't as fortunate as me. So I've never taken that for granted. I know how fortunate I am, but boy, put in whatever they call it, the big chair, boy, it is one day it's going to be all that it's cut out for, but at the time it's still a work in progress.
Absolutely. No, it's great to see that how things are, in year 2 are going to be a little different program wise than year 1 and your experiences. But, once you get past that challenge, you get another one thrown at you, and you both are going to be part of something not in this season necessarily, but moving forward with not just the Big Ten, but the really Big Ten. As you add the West Coast wing to it, the Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA, programs with more of a national history level than a lot of the Big Ten programs. So really kind of raising the profile there. Mike, what are some of the things that you're most looking forward to or most excited or eager about with, that a regular person like myself might not even realize with the really Big Ten coming up?
Well, I think a couple things. One, I've spent almost 20 years in the ACC, right? So you kind of, I've been in one conference, and even though that conference was changing and through two commissioners, you sort of had a feel for sort of how things went in the ACC. So coming into a new conference and learning how the conference operates, it's one challenge, but now then seeing, good challenge, and then seeing how fast and how quickly this conference is changing, and how excited I am. I mean, right now, like you talked about the really Big Ten, and we're unfortunately, or however you want to see it, it seems the Pac-12 is somewhat dissolving with these teams going to different places. These are the conferences you want to be in right now, and specifically the SEC and the Big Ten seem to be in the best spots. And this is way above my pay grade. I don't know, but you seem to be in a really, really good spot. On top of that, we hired a commissioner from Major League Baseball, and when we were at our meetings, he spent an hour with us in the morning and almost an hour and a half in the afternoon again, talking about baseball in our conference. So you add those 4 teams in, you have a bunch of teams in our conference making real investments in their program across the board, and a commissioner that wants Big Ten baseball to be an elite baseball conference. I think the future for the conference is really bright. It's gonna be crazy as we all sort through this, but it's crazy for everybody in every conference right now. Nobody knows who's going to be in their conference in 5 years, right? So, I think right now there's so much excitement about Big Ten baseball, in a conference, whether we like it or not, that's taken some flack the last couple of years from some decisions that have been made, and some votes on things on some rules in college baseball that didn't play well nationally for people who are trying to grow the sport. And we're in a different spot, man. We're now in a place where the conference and the commission that wants to grow the sport, that wants to be elite, that wants our conference having teams in Omaha. So I think it's a really, really exciting time to coach in the Big Ten, to be a player in the Big Ten, to be a fan of Big Ten baseball. And for all these kids that we're recruiting, that Bill's recruiting, for the kids looking at the Big Ten, man, it's going to be a really, really good baseball conference in the coming years.
Bill, what are we getting from, you're a West Coast guy, what are we getting from these programs that some of us that have grown up in the more traditional Big Ten, I don't even know if it's traditional once Rutgers and Maryland and East Coast schools have come in, but what are we getting here from the West Coast? And other than some good travel for you, what is some excitement for you about these programs?
Yeah, I mean, we got that's 4 really good programs. I don't know if people understand that Oregon and Washington, how much they're coming to be a really good baseball program. We all know about USC and UCLA and the success they've had, but it's baseball's baseball. One of the things, when you're a California guy, especially a baseball guy, you grow up and you think that you invented the game. You were brainwashed that California is the only place that plays baseball. And then myself, not being in California since 1992, I had one stint at USC in 2007. You realize, man, there's great baseball play all over the place. So it's great to have them. Mike couldn't have said it any better about where we're at as the Big Ten. And I hope this challenges us. Like, hey, we've got to become a better baseball conference. The Big Ten, we need a better commitment, and starts with the new commissioner, like Mike talked about. Like, he's going to make a really commitment. And it's a big key for the ADs to join in and say, hey, if we want to play with the big boys, we've got to make some commitment. So I just think it only gives us an opportunity to get stronger. Me being an outsider, the one thing I always thought about the Big Ten is I always knew there was great individual players and programs, but you always knew, man, they haven't made a great commitment. So that was a scary thing coming into this conference. Like, are they really going to make a commitment to this whole league in general? And like Mike's alluded, it's a challenge for everybody. And there's some schools that are stepping up, and it's going to challenge all of us. And iron sharpens iron. So I really hope this helps everybody. And that's the goal. And I never could have dreamt of it when I took the job at here, knowing that we're going to add that to make us even stronger. So I think it's awesome. Now, it's also a little scary too, man. You better get better fast, because everybody else is. And that's why guys like Mike and I took these challenges. We know from the outside what these programs were looked at from a pure baseball sense. And that's what keeps you up at night. And the challenge, man, you want to go to a place with a great recognition, where you know there's great players that you know you can recruit in a different parts of the country, and do the things you believe that you can do from a on the field system and culture wise, and you think you can win a lot of ball games, and that's the challenge. And it just got really, it was never going to be easy, but it got even harder, which is exciting for us.
Yeah, and you see it here in New Jersey with Coach Owens and Rutgers, and the commitment that they're making to raise, to get their program back to where it was on a larger scale 20, 30 years ago. And another thought here, or another thing I was thinking here, is I'm sitting here with the Penn State and Ohio State baseball coaches, and the chances of me being able to do this with Coach Franklin and Coach Day to sit down and have this kind of conversation for 30 minutes probably isn't happening. At least not without me getting some sort of Nobel Prize or something like that. What do we have to do to raise that Penn State Ohio State rivalry in baseball? Is it just a matter of continuing to raise the national profile of the conference in baseball and both programs? Is that the way it's going to happen?
Yeah, I think rivalries, the reason Penn State, Ohio State football is such a great rivalry, besides the fact, you have the history of it, but you also have the history of it's deciding the conference, and it's deciding who's going to play for a national championship, right? It's two top 10 teams every year, right? So I think, our guys and Bill's guys would both say, yeah, man, it's a big rivalry. We want to beat them, and Penn State, Ohio State is going to be a great rivalry in every sport because of the proximity, because of the fan bases. But for us, I mean, Bill and I will both tell you, man, we want to play in a couple years in our park or their park, with two top 10 teams going at it in front of a packed house. And I think both of us would say that we both believe that'll happen, but that'll raise a rivalry. If we're sitting here talking about two potential Omaha teams matching up in April and in front of, a couple thousand, whatever, 7,000 people, whatever these two parks hold, that'll get some attention.
New Jersey itself, and the coaches clinic, and again, we're talking in preview of the Garden State Baseball Coaches Clinic, December 7th and 8th, Hyatt Regency in New Brunswick. Why is this such, coaches clinic? Why are these important? Why are these so important for not just for you guys to go to now, but to think about when you were younger coaches, or when you were still now, when you're going to these as attendees? Why is it so important, Bill, for these sort of events to be as big and successful as they are?
Like Mike had alluded, like I like to share. When I go to these things, I learn way more than the guys that I speak to. I like to be able to share my experiences. I like the passion of anybody that goes to there. That's me sitting in the stand, sitting in the seats, paying attention. So there's an obligation for me to try to share some of my experiences, like I said. And I just think anytime you get baseball-minded people that are willing to do these type things in December and January, they have a love for the game. And my job is to help pass on things. But like I said, I'm pretty selfish in the fact that I'm coming there to get things from other people. You know what I mean? And that's an exciting thing for me, man. Anytime you get to be around different coaches and share, my whole career has been other people pouring into me and sharing information to me. And I always like to be able to pay that back to others.
Coach,
yeah, I got to be out, to feed off that. I'll be honest. I don't really enjoy speaking at these things. I'll be honest with you. I enjoy, to me, talking about baseball and sitting around and picking guys' brains and learning baseball and talking about whatever it is that topic. And that to me is really fun and it's enjoyable. And, I want to sit and ask questions. And, the coaches clinic itself is what's fun, and being around the coaches. And like I said, the actual presenting is not my favorite thing, to be completely honest. It's for me, it's just about the time that we're going to spend, that I get to spend with other coaches, with Bill, with the high school coaches, and learning from those guys.
Finish with this, guys. One thing you're most looking forward to about 2024 and the upcoming season?
I just can't wait to get it started. You know, I mean, I just love the competition, love the games. I want to see the strides we've taken, and you know, I have a lot of anxieties going into things. You never, the one thing you really learn as a head coach, and I've always been, I've cared about my whole team everywhere I've ever been. I knew how important the pitching part was and the defense and that. But as a head coach, and people had always told me this, is just in the fall, I never get to leave happy because we swung the bats great. Man, we can't pitch. We pitched really well. How come we can't hit? You know what I mean? So you never leave. As a head coach, you're worried about every single thing. And when I'm running an offense and being the hitting guy, man, how are we getting better in this? But again, I've always cared for, you know, Coach Sardos and his pitching, and then, you know, trying to help the pitching staff get better. But like, that's the one thing as a head coach. So I never get to leave a fall knowing, man, are we as good as we think we are offensively, pitching wise? Have we made some strides here? No, maybe we've gone backwards in this. So, like, you know, the perfect thing is my guys throw nothing but strikes. We hit nothing but line drives, and we make every out. So we give up no runs, but we swing the bats great. So you can't win with that. So that's my one thing. But the exciting thing is just having this new group of 30 new players that, you know, and the returning guys that you're just excited to see what kind of strides we've made.
Week 1, who do you have opening weekend?
So we open up in the MLB Classic in Scottsdale, but I still don't know the 3 teams yet. We're still having a couple of those things to go. We open up the MLB Classic, then we'll play Grand Canyon, GCU on a Tuesday, and then Arizona State for 4 the next weekend. So like I'm always going to be challenged. We're going to play great teams, and you know, so that's what's exciting, the kind of schedule that we'll play and be out there in Arizona to play some great baseball.
Mike, who do we start out with, and what got you excited this fall, and what are you ready for 24?
Yeah, we're down in Cary opening weekend with a couple Northeast teams. Really, one of them being a New Jersey team with Monmouth coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're heading to Stanford weekend 2, and then down to Davidson to UVA, and then a weekend against Harvard weekend 3 or weekend 4, I guess I should say. That's kind of the start of it. And then as far as what am I most looking forward to, I think honestly one of the things that has blown me away and has been overwhelming in a good way has been the support. I talked about like what Penn State alum and what the Penn State fan base has been like, and I'm actually really excited to just be out and represent Penn State and represent our former players. And I couldn't believe it when I first took this job and I was driving back and forth to Massachusetts trying to like help. You know, we're selling a house and moving the family, and I just kept going back and forth every day, you know, every couple of days, and you know, it was a 6-hour drive, so the 6 hours in the car, I sort of needed that time, like on the phone, it was like perfect. I would just get in, you got your office in the car, you're on the phone for 6 hours, you get home, you do some work, do a day and a half, do it back, and but everywhere I stopped, and I was always wearing Penn State stuff, and you would make a comment, you know, I'd hear a "we are" from across the parking lot of a gas station, and you know, anytime anybody would see the Penn State brand, the other Penn State alum are excited about it. So to represent Penn State both at home and on the road, and having people come out and see this team and see, you know, hopefully what it's going to look like this year and going forward, that to me is really, really exciting. And it's honestly, it's an honor and it's a bit humbling.
Absolutely. We appreciate the time, guys. Certainly look forward to getting to meet you both in a couple of weeks. We'll make sure we get the pasta and the cannolis for you, Coach. And again, thanks again for coming on, and look forward to the clinic.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, Bill Mosiello, Mike Gambino, our guests today. We look forward to seeing them and all of you at the Hyatt Regency next week.